almost 7. Just waiting for this to connect. Yep, I think we're good. Volume, yep, that's fine. So yeah, we've got 10 days left of the challenge. Yeah, we're technically on week 7. So that means this week we will be giving away the Muscle and Health magazine subscription. So again, keep posting content onto CrazyBulk's Instagram, tagging CrazyBulk, using the hashtags, and we're giving away the magazine subscription. This will be announced tomorrow. So this is the last chance to win the giveaways. Giveaways were for the first 7 weeks. Obviously, on the last week will be the end of the challenge. So yeah, final push, 10 days. I want to see some of your transformations. I want to see, it's progress and how you're getting on. I'm going to run through some questions that we've got for this week's live Q&A. Just kind of wanted to jump on initially to say, just keep tagging social media with any content. The hashtags are CB Summer Shred, hashtag CrazyBulk Challenge. And yeah, we're giving away the magazine subscriptions. Make sure you get involved with that one. Questions this week we have. So, will performing cardio several times per week slow my gains? No is the answer. Providing you're also training your muscle group workouts, so you're training hitting body parts and still doing resistance training, that will be fine. We can add in cardio several times a week just to increase the deficit. If we're still eating our maintenance calories, we can use cardio as a tool to find our deficit. Cardio several times a week's not a concern. If you were doing cardio twice a day, possibly we might find that you're losing too much weight, in terms of you might lose too much body fat and muscle. But because you're cardio several times a week wouldn't affect your gains. Will doing yoga slow my gains? Not at all. Yoga is actually great for mobility and stretching. A really important part when we train. We should always be doing a warm-up and stretching prior to working out. So doing yoga before a weight session is actually great, because it's going to get you ready and primed for training. It's going to reduce your chance of injury, and it's going to help get blood flow to your muscle groups. So no, not at all. I think yoga is great for that. Providing you're also doing your weights training as well, then definitely no. Question 3, is squatting with good form still bad for your knees? Doing any exercise can be bad for a joint, but in terms of if you've got good form, then no. Providing you're still stretching before you train, providing you're taking joint supplements, providing you're wearing perhaps knee supports, knee wraps, no is the answer. Doing anything in moderation, carefully, won't be bad for you. If you're squatting multiple times a week with extremely heavy weights and you're not stretching, then you may find that it's going to increase to a knee injury. But if you've got good form, you're wearing your knee supports, you're stretching beforehand, and you're taking as much joint supplementation as you can, then no is the answer. Will doing a lot of ab work give me a six-pack? Now, obviously, to build abs, we need to be doing some core movements. However, if we focus on doing ab work and we don't focus on losing body fat, then we'll find that we'll never really see our abs because they'll be covered in body fat. So yes, we do need to do ab exercises and ab work in order to build the ab structure and build the depth of our abs. If we want more prominent abs, then yes. This is why you often see sort of like younger boys who have they do have abs, but the ab definition is not quite there, but they've got low body fat. So you can see the some ab definition, but it's not as prominent as someone that's been training for years and years. He's been doing lots of core movements and exercises. They'll have much thicker, squarer abs, which do look better when you come to lose body fat. So doing ab work will help, but in order to get the six-pack, you need to be losing your body fat, which means you need to be eating in a calorie deficit. Hope that helps. Can I get as big as a mass monster pro bodybuilder without steroids? It depends on what you view as a mass monster pro bodybuilder. Any pro bodybuilder will most likely be on steroids. You get natural divisions for a reason, because no natural bodybuilder would be able to win Mr. Olympia. You're just such an unfair advantage in terms of muscle growth, recovery. Yeah, I mean, my steroid knowledge is minimal because I'm a natural athlete. I don't know, but I do know that to be competing at a pro level, you will be on steroids. But I do think that's a question that, yeah, you want to really think about, weighing up a lot of pros and cons before making any quick decisions. Will women look like Arnold Schwarzenegger if they train with resistance? No. I think women tend to get a perception that if they do the same exercises that men do, they'll look like men. Whether it's not the case. I mean, their testosterone levels are nowhere near the level in men. Hence why when women go to the gym, they don't end up with the same physiques. If you were taking large amounts of PEDs, then you're going to look more muscular. But if you're a natural athlete as a woman and you're just training in the gym, you're never going to end up looking like a bodybuilder, or Arnold Schwarzenegger in this case. So you find to train as hard as you can, lift all the weights, do all the weights exercises, same movements that men do in the gym. It's going to make your physique better, but it won't make you look like a man. Should I train differently when I'm cutting? So yes, there is going to be a difference in training when you're cutting and bulking. You're going to have a lot more energy when you're doing a bulk than when you're doing a cut. So when it comes to using your calories and your carbs, you're going to feel much more up for a workout. Therefore, you can make your sessions much longer. You can train harder. Your intensity is there. Whether when you're training on a cut, it's going to be a lot different. You're going to be very fatigued. You want to get the heavy focus on the movements you really want to get out of your session first, and then see what you've got left to do at the end of a session. I know that, yeah, when you run it's quite a big deficit, training does get very hard. Which is why cuts and bulks exist. When we want to add muscle mass, the best way to do it is give our body the most amount of protein and calories for each workout. This doesn't mean eat above and beyond so that you're not using them. You want to find the point where your body has all the protein and all the energy needed for the best session possible. That's the purpose of the bulk. You'll find muscle growth. Yes, we may gain body fat, but we don't need to gain loads. When it comes to the cut, we need to see what muscle do we have underneath our body fat. That's the purpose of the cut. So once we've built the muscle, we then come to eating in the calorie deficit. We lose the body fat. And the purpose of training muscle groups and still doing our resistance training is to prevent muscle loss. So we still at that stage are focusing on training as hard as possible whilst in a deficit, which is much harder than training when we're in a surplus. Even though we can train harder, we still find that the cut is very taxing when it comes to lifting heavy weights. I suppose another one on that would be you may fatigue quicker when it comes to heavier lifts. You may not be able to lift as heavy as when you're bulking. Therefore, we would try and increase our rep range to do as many reps as we are doing when it comes to a bulk. But again, it is challenging. The next challenge that CrazyBulk are doing, hence the name CrazyBulk, they are doing a bulk/building/strength challenge, where it's going to be to see kind of how much strength we can gain, how much size we can put on. So we're going to be doing measurements, and in terms of size, this wants to be how much muscle can we build whilst bulking. So the focus is going to be on muscle and strength. It's very easy to get big by just eating lots of calories, but are we actually gaining muscle? So again, we would do this by, are we gaining strength and are we gaining size? So I think that's kind of today's questions. Again, just going to remind you that the magazine is going to be given out tomorrow. So all you have to do, if you're watching this live stream between now and tomorrow, is jump on Instagram, tag CrazyBulk, post the transformation. I want to see where you guys are at. I want to see which transformation is coming out best. In fact, I think I've got one more question. It was, do calisthenics build muscle? Definitely. I mean, all about basically training your body weight. So you're doing lots of pull-ups, lots of press-ups, lots of sit-ups, really good for the core. Calisthenics is great for that. It's basically training using your body weight. So you can still hit every muscle group. You can still hit, back, biceps, shoulders. It's great for that. In terms of legs, you may struggle. I think calisthenics tend to be all kind of upper body based, but yeah, I mean, it's a great sport. I definitely incorporate that into your routine. If your goal is to try and get the best beach body physique, then it may be that you want to consider also doing something alongside your calisthenics, such as like a weights training, something more focused on lifting heavy, just to increase your muscle mass. Again, if you did sort of if you were to do one muscle group, I'd probably suggest you did calisthenics, and then alongside that, go and hit a leg session. So go and do heavy squats, heavy leg press, just help build the legs in your physique. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's it. I think if you guys have got any more questions on, as we're getting quite close to the end of the challenge, this is probably going to be the hardest part, because we are, max deficit, max fatigue. I think at this stage, it's kind of like hold on for the last 10 days, and we want to get the best result possible. You don't need to do anything silly. We don't need to go into a crazy deficit, but we need to make sure we're still in that deficit, still hitting our workouts, still hitting the calories to continue losing body fat. You'll find that towards the end of the challenge is where you're going to see the best results. It kind of has a bit of a towards the end, it's kind of going to increase much quicker. Towards the start of the challenge, because you're sat on quite a lot of body fat initially, it's hard to see something. But as that drops, we do see more cuts, more lines, more veins, and it all comes together really nicely. So 10 days left. Keep us updated with your progress. A few of you guys are messaging me directly on Instagram, so feel free to continue doing that with any questions you may have. I hope the guides are still being useful, the workout guide and nutrition guide. And I hope you've kind of found some meals that work really well for you, that you enjoy, that are low in calories, high in volume, and that you're still enjoying to eat. I think at this stage, it's all about just staying consistent, head down for the last 10 days. I'm super excited to see some progress that you guys have made. If you've enjoyed the summer shred challenge, then obviously we're going to lead that on to the bulking challenge, which will be really good to do. I think we'd focus that again on the strength side of it, and focusing on building strength and adding mass to your physique. I think I'll do a Q&A kind of next week, but focus more on what we do to get the final physique look. So what can we do in terms of water retention? What can we do in terms of lighting, photos, angles, posing? There's kind of various things that might help you get that final physique look. Manipulation when it comes to sodium, minimal sodium, eat water, kind of drink lots of water prior to our final physique look, and then cut it out for the last couple of days. That'll just help you dry out and look more dry and tighter. We can discuss that in next week's live Q&A. I don't think I've got anything else. If you've got any more questions in the meantime, fire them over to CrazyBulk. I'll answer them in next week's Q&A. Keep going. 10 days left. Head down for these last 10 days. And if you are behind where you wanted to be at this stage, it doesn't matter. Even if you've made a tiny bit of progress between where you started and now, that's fine. Because progress means you're doing something right. It means that if you kept going at this rate, even if you kept doing what you've done, you may have had quite a lot of cheat meals, missed quite a lot of workouts, but that's fine because you've still made progress. So again, just continue this throughout. I know it's the summer shred, but you can do this all year. We can do this for another couple of months. I'd probably say at some point we're going to want to stop being in a deficit and focus more on maintenance calories, training harder, eating in a slight surplus, just to add mass to our physique. Glad to kind of hear that lots of you are still involved in the challenge, and look forward to seeing some results on Instagram. See you guys next week.